Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get started today, prayers to all of the victims of the fires across the South and the Midwest, the Carolinas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Now, I pulled up this chart about all of the fires of this year, 2025 to date. I'm not sure how accurate this table is, but I sorted it by thousands of acres. And of course, here you see the Nebraska, South Dakota, Oklahoma fires, well over 30,000 acres. Californians in here as well, 23,000 acres. The Palisade fire, and on down the list. It looks like, if this table's accurate, 2,000 acres in South Carolina, mostly contained. A couple of 1,200 acre North Carolina fires not contained, and another 2,000 acres in Arkansas that's been contained. And of course, all these Oklahoma fires. I had no idea Oklahoma had so many fires, most of them well over 10,000 acres, some contained and some not. So I'll put a link to this page for those of you that want to track these fires and to see if any people that you know are in some of these counties or in these places, and you can pray for them. And let's get started on today's show. Now, today's show, I know I always say this, but today's show is huge. This whole astronaut rescue thing has taken on a mind of its own. And once I realized how accurate this whole iPet Goat 2 thing really was, regarding the recent astronaut that was stuck in space. This morning, we are going to be diving into the egg matrix. And I'm going to share with you some things that you have not heard before about these rescued astronauts, the birthing ritual. We're going to get into the egg crisis, because all of this fits into this as well. Fertility. It's all connected, you guys. We are in the midst of a massive egg ritual. From egg-shaped space capsules to the war on chicken eggs to a new KFC chicken ad that we're going to cover today that depicts literally a black baptism. Yes, you heard it correctly. A black baptism in the newest KFC chicken ad. We're also going to get into Slovenian witch practices that literally match up with this scene from iPet Goat 2, the woman in the tower, as well as these recent astronauts that were stuck in space. If you didn't know, the female astronaut is half Slovenian. So I found Slovenian witch practices that line up with all this. We'll get into all this today as we break down the egg matrix, the war on the seed of the woman. Now, I hope you're sitting down for this, because the old woman in iPet Goat 2 from 2012, the images that you're looking at on your screen right now, she was literally trapped inside this capsule. As you can see here, here's the capsule. iPet Goat 2 on the left, SpaceX on the right, and you see this overlapping area here matches the overlapping boosters inside the Dragon X. She was literally trapped inside the capsule behind bars, and she was counting the days of how long she was trapped with these tally marks behind her on the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if someone could carefully count the tally marks, and I wouldn't be surprised if they came out to 289 days. I hope you're awake. 2012, 2025. Now, if you didn't know, tally marks originated from witches. They're also known as witch marks. In some historical contexts, tally marks or witch marks were believed to be apotropaic symbols or graffiti used to ward off evil spirits or witches. Wow. Now, what else is going on? Well, this capsule to me looks egg-shaped. It is the top of an egg. And again, this is what rescued, quote unquote, rescued. Look at this. Look at this part here. The boosters of this rocket. This overlapping feature here where it's hanging off the edge. This is insane, you guys. I believe that this is a dragon egg. It has to be a dragon egg. Now, this goes further because in iPet Go 2, she's wearing this fig leaf dress. Now, we had found this years and years ago. We broke down this fig leaf dress, but now we have another match. What am I talking about? Portrait of astronaut Sunita Williams carved on a fig leaf by a teacher. This was dated March 18th, the day they were rescued. And it is a different fig leaf, but it's a fig leaf. This is a rebirthing ritual. The fig leaf has to be about Adam and Eve, who were covered with a fig leaf. Let's read this. A government school teacher has decided to welcome Indian origin American astronaut Sunita Williams, who departed from International Space Station in a unique way. The teacher has carved a portrait of Sunita on a fig leaf. Williams, who spent a record 9 months in space, is expected to land on Earth Wednesday morning. This woman was Anadura Das was working as a teacher at a government school. Unbelievable. Fig leaf confirmed. Birthing ritual confirmed. Adam and Eve, 9 months of human gestation in the womb, confirmed. Now, there's so much more to this. And I'm going to present that to you today. Thanks to the super chat. Thank you for that. Let's read this here. Thank you. Let's keep going, you guys. Now, if we are to follow the rest of the clues in iPet Go 2, because it looks like we're on to something, aren't we? It appears as though there's some spirit cooking and spell casting going on as well. As this woman in the tower, which when you do the side-by-side, looks a lot like the astronaut. People are noticing that she's aged significantly over the last 9 months. She's carrying a wand in iPet Go 2 as she's casting a spell. And again, behind her on the wall are tally marks, witch marks, as well as like fluid splashed all along the walls. And we all remember much of this was happening as part of spirit cooking. Marina Abramovich. Were they casting spells in space or low Earth orbit? What was really going on up there? Well, just before this scene, just before we see the woman in the tower, we all remember what happened just before this. This image. Now down here is the tower. And it's almost like a lighthouse. And In the sky, a huge spiral opens. Again, this is an iPetGoat 2. And out of the spiral comes a hand. And it's shining a light on the tower with the woman in it, which we now know is the capsule, the SpaceX Dragon capsule. And she's backing up in fear of this light coming out of the hand as she's waving her wand and trying to cast spells against it. Now, back in 2012, when we first saw these images, there was no SpaceX, was there? But now we are told that these spirals in the sky are caused by SpaceX. SpaceX spirals are luminous, spiral-shaped formations in the sky, often resembling galaxies, caused by SpaceX rocket launches, specifically when the rocket vents excess fuel that freezes into ice crystals and reflects sunlight. iPetGoat 2 prediction confirmed. SpaceX 2025, iPetGoat 2 2012. What happened up there in low Earth orbit? Now, there's even more to this. Let's go back to this astronaut. Now, if you're new to the channel, everything that I'm showing you today can be confirmed. We're not a sensationalist channel. I show you guys things that can be fact-checked and looked at. I don't just make things up for clicks and views. Apparently, the real truth isn't very popular. It's the fake stuff that's become popular. This is as real as a hand in front of your face. Well, let's keep going. We got to follow the rabbit hole because the astronaut shares the same heritage as Melania Trump. Slovenian American. Her mother was Slovenian, so she's half Indian and half Slovenian. And guess where the first tally marks, the ones that were on the wall, guess where the first tally marks came from? They came from Czechoslovakia. Here it is right here. The first tally marks ever discovered were from Czechoslovakia in 1937 during excavations. Well, here's the map of where Czechoslovakia is. And literally one country away is Slovenia down here. And up here's the former Czechoslovakia, where they discovered the first tally marks. So it appears as though we're beginning to close in on the truth, aren't we? But there's even more. So I wanted to figure out what they were doing up there this whole time. Like, what were they working on? And I found several articles about what they were working on up there, what kind of experiments they were doing. And in one particular experiment, they were measuring bone loss and muscle loss, which, in theory, could cause one of the extremities to shrink. They were specifically looking at muscle and bone loss in the lower extremities, which would be a short leg, just like the woman in the tower in iPetGoat 2 from 2012. She had a short leg with a shoe that was lifted on one of the legs. Now, we'll get into this menstruation part of this as well. As many of you probably saw, we will get into that as well because that has meaning too. Because this menstrual blood, well, Let me just show you this interview. This woman did a religious studies project. She went to rural Slovenia. Remember, this is where Melania is from, Melania Trump, and also the astronaut is half Slovenian, half Indian. And this woman went to eastern Slovenia, and there was this whole interview about it. And I listened to this interview. They've also got the transcript here. What do you think they talked about? What do you think this woman found when she interviewed all of these people? When she interviewed real witches? Well, let me show you with her own words. Menopause. Remember we talked about this the other day? How women in orbit go into pre-menopause because the eggs are destroyed by radiation. What did she have to say about this? Well, the woman said women were often proclaimed witches when they were old and they were in the period of menopause, which was related to the idea about menstruation. That while they still have their menstruation, they can kind of purify themselves. But afterwards, they cannot do that anymore. So these bad fluids just prevailed in their bodies. And there are many reasons, of course. Widows and unmarried women are among the first targets of accusation. This is insane because it matches the disappearing menstruation of the woman in the tower in iPad Code 2. They were literally called witches once they ceased to be able to have their menstruation in eastern Slovenia, specifically. Now, this interview gets even more specific because it talks about losing a leg. Let's read. Let's go back up here. Make sure I get this right. This is insane, you guys. Now, I found all this over the last couple days, just doing a deep dive on all this. And just my mind was blown. It says here, and I trampled her. I destroyed her. And the next day I saw a woman in the village who lost her leg just at the same time. And now this is how they recognize that it was that woman that was transformed into the toad. And this was a general notion in our region that witches can either transform into toads or sand toads. Actually, she recognized the witch that transformed into a toad by losing a leg in the same moment. As she's talking about some of these witchcraft that was going on in eastern Slovenia. Now, if you can believe it, there's even more. It gets even more specific. Because what else these Slovenian witches did was that they buried eggs on people's property so that their land would be infertile, so that their land would be barren. Let's read. It says here, but obviously some people still buried bones or eggs on their neighbors' properties in order to do them harm. Next one says, for instance, burying bones or eggs on your property or by praising your child or your livestock. You assume your neighbor caused the misfortune that befell you by doing those things. There are also various modes of bewitching. Usually eggs or bones on the buried on the property. She repeats it several times. She kept finding eggs buried on her property. And this is how they bewitched people. From the same area, which is Styria. They call them Styrian witches in Slovenia. I can't even believe I'm reading this, you guys. Because this is the egg matrix. Let's keep reading here. Measures taken against perceived witches throughout the 20th century come into clear focus in this carefully presented work of ethnography. The most common marker of bewitchment was finding eggs on one's property, buried too deeply to have been left there by a hen. This meant that someone had buried the egg with the intent of harming another's crops or animals. Still, as is the case in intact and functioning witch belief systems, there was a remedy which consisted of gathering wood from 6 different stream beds, preparing a fire at a crossroad, and burning the egg. The first person to arrive on the scene was the witch who buried the egg. Having suffered some burning sensation, she was compelled to come forth. The burning of the egg. This is all about fertility. And this is why SpaceX, the Dragon capsule, is shaped like an egg. And this is why the woman in the tower, the witch in the tower, with the fluids on the walls and the witch tally marks trapped in the capsule, the fig leaf, fertility, infertility. Wow. Now, what is this war on the eggs? We're going to go down a couple more levels. We're going to get into a KFC commercial, a brand new KFC commercial. Good morning, everybody. We did start a little bit early today, but we are basically breaking down the egg matrix, relating it to this recent astronaut rescue and all these things. The war on eggs, it's all connected. The war on eggs represents the war on the seed of the woman. Guess what? $10,000 fine for bringing eggs across the border. $10,000 fine. Now, this is the worst case scenario. The minimum is a $300 fine for first offense for trying to smuggle eggs across the border. But repeated offenses, $10,000 fine. There is a war on eggs. And it's all connected. Criminalizing egg trafficking. While the real egg traffickers that are trafficking the seed of the woman, remember, IVF, they store the woman's eggs. And in Thailand, they just busted up a human trafficking ring that were engaged in harvesting human eggs of Thai women. This just broke last month, February 7th, 2025. Reuters. And now here we are on the cusp of IVF, in which millions and millions of the seed of the woman will be stored by our own government, as Trump has just announced that he wants to federally subsidize in vitro fertilization. Eggs are microscopic. How do you know that those are your eggs? How do you know where your eggs are going, what they're being used for? We've already seen in several TV series where a woman's eggs were used to birth in the Antichrist. That was in the TV series Evil. Long before Trump announced that he was going to be federally subsidizing in vitro fertilization. Now, let's get into this chicken ad, this new KFC chicken ad. Remember, we did a decode on the KFC chicken ad from last year. think it was around the time of the Super Bowl. I can't remember now. And I'm going to show that to you. But first, we're going to look at this newest KFC chicken ad. It's about a golden egg. You guys, Trump just announced we're in the golden age. We now have a golden dome. Let's watch this.
The lore and take it a step further, bringing the story to a more unsettling realm. This time, the campaign places us in an enigmatic forest, with a mysterious cult that obsessively worships a golden egg. Let's see it.
So this guy stumbles into the forest and finds a chicken cult. This is one woman from the chicken cult. They're all wearing these brownish outfits. She's got a vest. Remember, this is very zombie-like, which matches the first KFC chicken ad, which I'll show you after this, but I wanted to show you this one first. This is the hive mind, the hive cult. I think in the original decode, I basically said that they looked like the zombies in I Am Legend, where they're all like huddling and surrounding in the dark as they hibernated during the day. They came out at night. And then the golden egg is revealed. They're all holding it up. There's some kind of anti-gravitic properties as well, which would suggest low Earth orbit or space. And essentially what you're looking at is the Dragon capsule from SpaceX, essentially. This almost looks like some kind of a Stargate. Some kind of Stargate or portal they go through. They bring the egg through, birthing the egg through, right? This is a KFC chicken commercial, you guys. He's now indoctrinated into the cult. And then we have a black goo baptism as they baptize him in an agam, a MAGA, a small pool. Is what agam means. A-G-A-M. Spelled backwards is MAGA. He's baptized. Trump is the goose that laid the golden egg, promising everyone riches. And if this doesn't wake people up, I don't know what will. Literal black baptism. It's about as evil as it gets. She brings him out of the black goo. It's actually brown, but essentially it's black. Pulls him out of the agam, out of the MAGA. And he turns into a chicken wing. So this is obviously cannibalism, it's sacrifice, human sacrifice, it's everything wrapped up into one. Believe in chicken. Wow. Now I'm going to go back into the chat and then I'm going to play you the decode we did from last year, from the first KFC chicken cult ad. Again, this was the sequel. Please thumbs up the video, you guys. Nothing changes until everybody sees these kinds of decodes. Okay. These are the most important elements of truth out there because they can actually wake people up. Now, he was obviously baptized and transformed into a chicken wing for consumption. He became a cannibalistic sacrifice. The mixing of human and feathered serpent DNA is probably something else that could be derived from that image. This is the war on the seed of the woman. Now, let me show you the decode that we did from last year. This is it. Let me see when I posted this, just so you can get a feel for it. 9 months ago, this was on June 20th, 2024 is when we decoded this. Let's see how accurate I was compared to the second KFC chicken ad. Article ends here, you guys. Unreal. So we'll keep an eye on this. Maybe I'll plot this on Google Earth, see where exactly it's located, to see if we could figure out if the numbers of the coordinates maybe mean something. But that's the update on the latest monolith. Now let's get into this creepy KFC chicken ad. You're not going to believe this. And I know some people have already covered this just because you guys were the ones that told me to look at this because you'd seen it on other channels. But again, I want to give the prerequisite here. I have not looked at any of those decodes. This is our rendition of this KFC chicken ad. And I think we probably have a very unique rendition based on our research connecting this rooster that you're about to see to Quetzalcoatl, because it points back to all the other research we did, didn't it? Now, the ad is called Believe in Chicken. And it starts out in this laundromat. Let's take a look. KFC's irreverent ad calls on people to believe in chicken in these uncertain times. Here's the chicken. Casey, that's not Quetzalcoatl. Well, keep watching. He's standing on a circle surrounded by zombies. Well, they're people acting like zombies. Here's the ad here. Let's get started. It starts out with this woman with red hair inside a laundromat. And at a certain point, this rhythmic beating music starts to happen. And she seems to become possessed by the spirit that starts making her dance like a zombie. And the music seems to be like a heartbeat. Let's take a look.
To the news at 11, where we'll be chatting to the Minister for Artificial Intelligence about recent accusations that he's not real.
Now things start to get weird because, as you also just heard, there was a voice on the radio announcing the 11 o'clock news. 11 a.m. because it was light outside. And it says that the Prime Minister responds to accusations about artificial intelligence and that he isn't real. Let's play that back.
At 11, where we'll be chatting to the Minister for Artificial Intelligence about recent accusations that he's not real.
News at 11, Prime Minister, Artificial Intelligence, accusations that he's not real. Now, we were just talking about this last month. We did a show in which we discussed the fact that we have reached some kind of artificial intelligence singularity, in which nobody is able to tell the difference anymore between artificial intelligence and reality, either through voice or through video images. And in that show, we said that the elite have done this on purpose so that they can hide in plain sight from actions that could have been recorded or filmed, because they simply blame it on a deep fake. And then weeks after that show, there was the ad with Logan Paul interviewing Trump. And Logan Paul and Trump were talking about exactly the same thing. They were discussing in that interview that truth is dead. That nobody could know the truth anymore because everything could be a deep fake. So they're hiding under this cover of deep fake. So anyone that comes forward, hey, here's a video of Trump, here's a video, they're not going to believe it. They'll just say it's a deep fake. And who's the authority to determine if something is a deep fake? Oh, they'll say that's above your intelligence level. You wouldn't understand why we know it's a deep fake. What else is going on? Well, the White House correspondent is even using this deep fake excuse about Biden. They're saying the videos of Biden, nodding off and all this stuff, they're saying it's all deep fakes. You see the problem here? We can now no longer hold our public officials accountable. Can't hold anybody accountable anymore. Deep fakes. White House claims Biden freezing videos are deep fakes. Let's keep watching this Believe in Chicken ad. Now, the scene cuts to a golden chicken egg cracking open as it hangs from a rear view mirror. Let's watch. Now, what is the significance of the rear view mirror and the golden chicken egg? Well, obviously, this is the birth of the split. The birth of the split in personality. In other words, the possession, the dark spirit coming into people who have already been modified to receive the dark spirit. That's exactly what the cracking chicken egg has to mean. It's the birth of the spirit, the birth of the mass possession or the twinning. And this is why you have the egg hanging from the mirror, because it's a reflection. Unbelievable. The ad then cuts to an electric car charging station with various prices. Flickering. The prices are flickering in pounds, of course. And it appears as though they're signifying some kind of a brownout at this electric car charging station. It also infers that electricity will be some kind of component of this possession ritual. Now, remember, you heard news at 11. Well, there are a couple more 11s that appear here on these jerseys on the wall. These are probably football jerseys, and I know they probably mean something else, but the fact is there are twin jerseys with 11s on them, okay, on the wall. So there are 3 total 11 so far. That's 33. At this point, a fox enters on a checkerboard floor, enters into this pub. You can see the fox in the lower left corner.
Of recent events, it begs the question, what can we even believe in anymore?
What can we even believe in anymore? And it says AI. Man marries an AI partner. As this woman says, what can we even believe in anymore? We've reached AI singularity. You think we're not in the last days? You think that this singularity of technology isn't significant? You think this singularity of technology and increase in knowledge in the last days isn't significant? That it's not pointing to an end point, the end of time? If you think that, you're mistaken. I grew up in the 80s. We had to have dimes in our pocket to make a phone call, to call home from a payphone. And here we are with light traveling through fiber optic cables across vast distances in 2024. Pulses of light that can project an image on your computer wherever you at in a near perfect real time. And now those same images can create something that looks real. You think we're not at the end of time? I don't know what to tell you. So what does that mean? It's no fear. It's just be prepared. Get things in order spiritually. Spiritual order. Check yourself about your priorities in life, what you're doing, who you support, where you put your energy into, sin in your life. Understand who's lying to you and who's not. and await Jesus' return. Because it's all happening right now. Now, this is another 11 here. So now we're up to 44. This is the fourth 11 mentioned in the ad. And it's another News at 11 broadcast. This anchor speaking from the TV, and the bartender headbutts the TV, which to me is a pineal gland reference. She hits her pineal gland destroyed by artificial intelligence.
Even anymore.
Wish I was making all this up. Then the entire neighborhood starts falling under mass possession. And what you're going to see next reminds me of Michael Jackson's Thriller music video from the 1980s. Let me check in with you guys and we'll start to try to finish this up. Why do we cover these things? Because these people are mocking us and gaslighting us, and people just by anybody other. They've got us share these. Her pineal gland into the. Let's keep going. She just smashed her pineal gland into the artificial intelligence TV. The signal coming through the TV. Now, I'm going to pause myself. I'm back in 2025. Something I missed in this decode were all of these lamps. The eye is the lamp of the body, Jesus said. And there are all these lamps. So pineal gland confirmed. Let's keep going back to 2024. The whole neighborhood is taken over in this Thriller-esque manifestation here. We then see a newspaper on the ground being stepped on. The woman was bruised in the head with the TV, and this person with the blue shoes bruised in the heel by stepping on the newspaper print with the black goo ink. Are you awake yet? And it says WTF, which stands for, in my mind, my spiritual mind, what the frequency. As you see the white noise on the back of the black goo ink. Led by the woman with the red hair. They all then dance into a circle around a rooster, a feathered serpent. Now, people fight me on this. Casey, those are two different species. I understand that, and I do not believe in evolution. But the enemy has as its god a feathered serpent, a bird and a snake together. That's what I'm talking about. Birds lay eggs, serpents lay eggs. Now, I hope you saw the vehicles, because electric vehicles is part of this, because it's electricity. Vehicles with a mind of their own, controlled by the artificial intelligence, that have the ability to turn your car off, to drive you off a cliff. Are you starting to understand now? Okay, back in 2025. And now you understand, we've unlocked the understanding of Trump, the money snake decode that we did, in which Trump is depicted as a snake who lays an egg. The vehicles are metaphors for us. And once you're plugged in, they'll be able to do the same thing to you, control you. They're already doing it. Now, what does them being led by the one with the red hair mean? Now, obviously, not all people with red hair are bad, but the people that rule this world come from a specific bloodline, okay? Now, even they have the chance to repent and be saved, but they won't because they rule over us. But I want to be clear about that, okay? Now, how do I know, as these people dance in this circle around the rooster, how do I know that that rooster represents the feathered serpent? How do I know this? Well, we're going to have a little fun because you guys get to solve this equation. How do I know that rooster in the middle of these people, magic circle, how do I know that rooster is Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent? I want you to look at the screen, and I'm going to go back into the chat and see who gets the answer. Based on how we research things and how we researched them in the past, this should be an easy slam dunk for anybody who's paying attention, because to me, it stood out like a sore thumb. Look at the scene here, and you tell me why the rooster is Quetzalcoatl. Okay, give it a second here, and I'm going to go back into the chat and see who gets the answer. Unbelievable. Now, this video should go viral, right? But it won't. And everyone will look at the other decodes that are far less in depth, and those will go viral. But this one will never go viral. And this shows you the power of how dangerous this channel is. Let's see who gets the answer. Why? How do I know that this is the feathered serpent? Did anyone take a very close look at that scene? See who gets the answer. Doom, 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 doom. Blue feathers. Yeah, it's more specific, you guys. There was a time where, we were starting to, YouTube was more stable, and I had a bit of an income from YouTube, and I started doing giveaways. I started giving away money every single month from part of my money that I made on YouTube. YouTube hated that. Why? Because our channel would have went super viral. Who gives away 3/4 of their income anymore? Nobody. They shut that down real quick. They sent in all kinds of trolls, people who really didn't need the money. Somebody's paying it. I know it's early, you guys. I know it's early. Maybe I need to give you a clue. Think numbers. Think numbers. That's the giveaway. Let me give you that clue. Think of all the number research we've done. The circle, yes, the blue, kind of, but it's even more of a slam dunk. Okay, I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds, and I'm going to go in and show you the answer. Center of the eye in the 101. Yeah, that's possible. Let's play the counting game. Are you ready? Let's count the number of people standing around the rooster. This is how obvious these people are for anybody paying attention. Start with this girl here on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's Q. And I'm back in 2025. A circle with a line coming out, these line of people down here, it also spells the letter Q. So 17, Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet, and visually it's a Q as well. Let's keep going back to 2024. Are you awake yet? I hope you are. 17 is Q. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. There's not 18 people around the circle. There's not 12. There are 17. Now, I will put a link to that decode for those of you that are interested, and links to everything else from today's show. This was a very important show today. So please do your diligence in sharing this video with other people in the truth community. You guys, we're only reaching probably about 10% of the entirety of the truth community that comes to this channel. Okay, so those people we can reach, and from there we can reach even more people. Now I'm back in the chat. Good morning, everybody. I'm just reading in the chat. Now, we do have several videos on Quetzalcoatl, Q. We exposed that a long time ago. There's actually a movie called Q, the Feathered Serpent, or something like that, from a long time ago. I think it was the 1980s. We decoded that. Quetzalcoatl. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we end the show today? Yes, this is all about the Bible. This stuff reinforces the Bible and what the Bible talks about the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman, the enmity between them. It's the central theme of the Bible, and it's what the enemy is going for. He's trying to ruin God's seed. Yes, people are as much to blame. Inaction and where people place their relevance. For some reason, we are programmed to believe that we're only programmed to believe people we see on TV or people who have huge followings. Why do you think YouTube took away the thumbs up and thumbs down rating? They don't want you to see that. They don't want other people to see true relevance, which is how many people thumbs up a video. And then even if they see that, they'll say, oh, it's because you're running a cult. They won't tell you exactly what that means. They won't tell you, oh, he's not telling you to jump off a bridge or go attack people. His message is Jesus Christ. They just go straight for the cult thing, right? Oh, that's why 99% of your viewers thumbs up the video. They don't account for new viewers or anything like that. They could be thumbsing down the video. No, it all has to do with they have these blanket smear tactics and campaigns. And you'll see this even on YouTube. There are literal channels that have been hired to come after our channel. They don't offer any specifics about why they think our channel is bad. They just say, nobody disagrees with him. He's running a cult. So we have to break through that with raw truth, the kind of raw truth that I just showed you today. That's pretty much indisputable. Sarah asks, are you talking about Melania? What do you mean specifically, Sarah? Because yes, we were talking about Melania, but we're also talking about the astronaut in the capsule, who is half Slovenian, which is where Melania Trump is from. And the whole first part of the discussion was about Slovenian witch practices. And we compared that to the old woman in the tower and the capsule, as well as the astronaut. Now, I don't know what Melania is up to. I'm not going to, try to make any accusations. I can tell you that she was on the patio at Mar-a-Lago talking about tea time, and behind her was a statue of Pan with his panpipes, which apparently is a statue on the patio at Mar-a-Lago. She was also released a cryptocurrency called Melania's Eyes, while Trump was bashing crypto originally, and now he's done a 180-degree turn, and he is now supporting crypto, of course, and the rest is history. I saw Slovenia. Yeah, you're going to have to probably go back to the beginning of the video and get caught up, because there's a lot of information. Today was a show for the archives. So if you're just tuning in, you got to go back to the beginning, because we dropped some truth bombs today. Melania wore a tea dress too. My belief system is that Melania is the Russian connection. She's the handler. Remember, we found some guy came out and said that Trump's code name, his Russian code name. Well, his Russian code name is Melania's maiden name. Novs, I think her name was, spelt both ways. And then Trump's secret code name from the 1980s was Krasnov. So it's essentially the same name. So I believe she is the handler. And she could be a witch. I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I have no other proof, right, other than my opinion. But she is the Russian connection. She has the control over Trump. Now understand that all of this is just about the devil runs all these countries. Okay. Any country of significance, the world powers are all puppets of the devil himself. So don't take too much stock into freaking out that, Trump could be controlled. The whole Russian smokescreen that the left gave us was just a smokescreen. Those were intentional dead ends that they gave us to trivialize the Russian connection, to blow it off. And oftentimes they'll do this. They'll bring attention to something so that they can then redirect it and blow it off. So then it's forgotten. Oh yeah, we already looked into Trump and the whole Russian connection. There's nothing to see there. Move along. That's the ritual. That's the sorcery. That's how they mind control people. But the truth be told, Trump did have many, many, many Russian tenants in Trump World Tower next to the UN building. And of course, most of his wives are from Eastern Europe, which is essentially at some point or another was Russia. So you can't ignore those things. Those are facts. Okay. Those are facts. Russian mobsters is the connection to Trump. Now, outside of that, who knows? Who knows what's going on? But those are the facts. You can take it for what you want. So, great question about that. Yes, Melania does not come out too often. Weird that she named her son Baron. Like the barren fields when they would bury the eggs. Slovenian witches would bury eggs in people's fields to render them barren. Trump World Tower sits amongst the world headquarters of several pharmaceutical companies, some of which made the IT at warp speed. What does warp mean? I will leave you with this. Warp means the miscarriage of a cow. Take care and be safe, you guys. I hope you share this video because this truth will not get out unless you share it. Much love. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow, likely.